Hi, good morning. I got a call from a customer today that we're going out to look at his pool right now to see what's going on with his heater. He said he's got a knocking noise. Heater won't stay lit. Very common issue. It's a Pentair mastertemp, so we're going to get over here and take a look, see what's going on. I'll get back. All right. We are pulling up here. As I said, my customer called this morning, said his heater's making a knocking noise, not staying lit. It's a Pentair mastertemp 400 BTU, 400,000 BTU heater. So it's a very common issue that I see, so I wanted to make a short video about how to fix this. Thanks. Making our way back here. I have already taken the cover off the manifold here so that we can see what's going on here. We'll put it back into auto. Get in here. So first thing I'm probably going to want to do is loosen these. Try to disconnect the unions off here so that we can take this manifold off easier. This is just an oil filter wrench. I used to grab hold of those big unions. There we go. Hot water coming out of that. Alright. Now, I'm going to turn this out like that, just so it's out of my way. This. So it's out of my way. Okay, we're just going to loosen it. Pull this up so that's out of our way. Now we have full access to this manifold here. We're going to have to set the camera down here for a second, so I'll be back. Got it turned back on here. The heater is scheduled to be on. See the heater right at the heater's at the top right. Okay, and heater's calling for heat. Should fire up here in a second. For the gas valve to open up. There it goes. Blowing hot air out, so that means everything's good there. Igniter's good. Give it some time here to let it heat up. Hear that? See if it's shaking, knocking, shaking. We're going to open this up. Let's see what's going on. Okay, got my wrench together. I'm going to take these bolts off here. There's 10 bolts here on this manifold holding this heater together. So what you want to do, loosen each one of these. When you tighten it back up, you'll have to tighten it in a pattern, but I'll show that later. Right now, you just want to loosen each one of these up. Both sides. There's 5 on that side. On the other side. It's kind of hard to do with the camera, but this one like this here. we got those 10 bolts removed, as you can see on that side and this side. The next step is to remove these wires here on these sensors. We have one over here, two over here. Gotta wiggle them a little bit and they'll finally come loose. It's cold outside, so it's a little harder. It's hard to do with a camera in hand. We're gonna skip that for now. We're gonna move to this. Wiggle this back and forth. Try to break it. Wiggle. There's that one. Bottom. Now the pesky top that keeps giving me problems. Can't get it off there. Got them all off. As you can see, the wire harnesses are at the same height. There's really no need to really, you just know this is wire harness on that side. You got it's pretty much self-explanatory, dummy proof there. So you can just now wiggle this thing off here. We can take a look at this manifold inside here. Okay, and what's going on is, what's knocking in there is that bypass valve, which is inside this. You have to pry those two parts to pry the back plate off there. But we'll have to do that, and then you'll see the bypass valve is broken inside there. We'll have to clean it off, or put a new one on there and clean it off and put it back on. So I'll be right back. Okay, I've got this sitting here on the manifold on top of this trash can here. I'm gonna see if I can prop this camera up on myself. Save myself a little bit of, okay. So now I can use two hands here. What you want to do is take off this thing. It's the cover for the thermal regulator. That's what it is. It regulates the amount of flow that goes past the bypass valve. So the heater comes in, or the water comes into the heater from the top here, goes through heat exchangers back here, and some of the water goes past right through here. It goes right back to the pool. So it just goes this direction, but it lets the bypass valve, when it gets too hot, it lets that bypass more and less whenever it's cooler. So when what it does is, once it regulates that heat that goes into the heat exchanger, and that's where you get the boil. And what happens is it boils in there. If the bypass valve isn't working properly, it'll boil in there and start making knocking and shaking. And so anyways, we're gonna take off this regulator here. Looks just like it is a thermostat, like a car. The old, if you ever worked on old trucks or anything in the old cars, they have this type of thermostat, and I may or may not be able to get it out because the valve might be broken on top of it, and it probably is. So, but what I wanted to do with that is take that off first to relieve pressure, and that spring is putting against the back plate here. So we're going to pry this apart very carefully. Let's see, there's a right here. Just get a flathead screwdriver and be careful not to dumb it up too much. So put that apart there. do it evenly. So once you get a little bit of a gap over there, you gotta work your way this gap all the way around. This is the one that's being stubborn over here. There we go. Just a little bit of separation here. There we go. Separation over here. It's a little bit of a process, but you'll get it eventually. Just keep working on it. Yep, see, there's the thermal regulator. It came out, and well, ice on it, but looks like it's got a little corrosion there. See that? We could clean it off or just replace it. I'll probably just replace it and set that off to the side here. Nice and easy. It's separated there. Okay, now we can see. Got one side that has this gasket around it, which is important. Just leave that off to the side there. And then this part has a plate here. Now you see this is in the way. We're going to have to take that off. Trusty channel locks here. That. This is the thermistor, which is basically the thermostat for the heater. I'll remove that. Inspect it. It looks decent. A little bit of corrosion there, but not too bad. Set that off to the side. All right, now we shouldn't have anything blocking this plate, so we can just pull this plate out like that. All right, and as you see, there's the broken valve. It's not supposed to just come out like that. It's a bypass valve right here. So the water comes in the top of the heater, and as it gets warm, this thing opens up and allows water to go through here and back into the pool. Otherwise, this just slides right out. There it goes. Broke. Okay. And we got that out of there. Got a genuine Pentair part here, item number 77707-0001. Sorry, the manifold bypass valve kit package. You can buy a generic one of these for very, very cheap on Amazon for, I think, like less than $20. But the OEM part here is quite a bit more expensive, but I like to replace with OEM. Always tends to be made a little bit better. Not always, but most of the time. So here's the valve. That's what it's supposed to do. See that? It's not broken. We're gonna put that back in here in that slot. Okay. This back. And line this back up. If you don't remember, see this little notch up. See this little notch up here? You can line that up with this little notch inside there, which is kind of hard to see, but there's a little that goes down. So you can just line that up, push that all the way in. Okay, nice and tight. We'll take our old one right here, put a new gasket on there, turn this around. Slide that back on right there, just like so. I'm gonna try to pop it on evenly. Doesn't have to be. You can see the gap there. It's pretty even on both sides. that's gonna, the reason that new gasket's kind of fat, so it's gonna take a little bit to squeeze that back down. But that's okay. Now we got the old thermostat. We're gonna put that back in. Try to line it up vertically like this one at the end of it. Probably. There we go. There you go. Just the way the wire harness goes back down there. That's the reason I do that. Okay, now this, we're gonna take this new thermal regulator. I'll put it together over here first. Put this little clip. See how that clip is? I put it, squeeze on it, squeeze it together, put it through underneath here to clip it. Push it up. There we go. There we go. All right. There it is. Okay, we got it. Got it clipped on. We just don't want that getting in our way there. All right. All be the same. Okay. Let me just look at something here on the old one. Stick this back down into here. If you can look, it's really hard to see, but there's this will go down into there just like that. Now before I put this on, I'm not going to put the cap on just yet. I'm going to put this assembly because I don't want the cap pushing the spring to push this thing back out. So what I'm going to do is we're going to come over here. We're going to attach it back to the heater. Let's see if I can find a good spot for the camera. Let's see here. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to put this back on. On this way. Put this back on the heater. Move these out of the way. Alright, just like that. Okay. Okay. See if I can do this one-handed. You just want to start by tightening up the top right one here. Cross and go down, not the top one, second from the top left. And I'm not quite tightening it down all the way just yet. I'm just trying to snug this plate down to where it's not gapping so much. Okay, that's good. And we'll skip it, go crisscross from here. Skip a step and go, not skip a step, skip a bolt and go with the fourth bolt down. It's really hard to do. Get back with you. Okay, we got that one tightened down over here. Fourth from the top, and we want the bottom one over here on the right, on the left, sorry. kind of tightening down pretty full now. These gaskets are seated up here. And we'll switch over from that bottom to this bottom. This don't have to, on pretty much everything you work on with pool equipment, you don't want to tighten anything more than about 10 pounds of pressure. If you don't know what that means, it's not very tight. So you don't really, you can just come back and tighten it later, but you are dealing with polymer, plastics. You don't want to over tighten anything. It just has to be snug. I'll skip up here for a second from the bottom over here. This one down. As I said, just nice and snug. You don't have to tighten these things down very tight. We'll skip this bolt, second from the top. Tighten it down. Gap start to close there. That's what you're hearing is popping, is that gap closing there. Okay, and then we have the top over here. Now you can see that's the last little bit that was open. Now it should be. Hear that kind of popping a little bit. You can kind of hear that just a little bit because it means you're getting it tight over there. Nice and snug. I'll be back with you guys. This is going to take a while for all these, trying to do this one-handed. So, okay, I've got all those 10 bolts tightened back up. Now it's just a matter of putting these sensors back on. This is pretty self-explanatory. Like I said, these wire harnesses are sitting like this. This goes back on here. This sensor, AGS sensor. I limit down there at the bottom. I limit sensor. Get back in. Okay. Pull these out over here. Got one down here. This is, or actually that was the thermistor up there. This is the AGS over here. Sorry. Doesn't really matter. But as long as you know. And pressure switch up here. Attached. Okay. As long as you know the pressure switch is on top of the manifold, not on the bottom, or else you got it upside down. So pressure switch on top. Now we're going to put the cap back on. With this, of course, it's over there. Camera, this is not working out very good. Okay. This is in really tight space here. Okay, now I'm going to put this back on. And I got to kind of press that in. It's kind of hard to do this one-handed. Oh, dang it. Might have to come back with you here. You got to press it in and turn it to the right clockwise. So I'll come back. Okay, you just gotta, like I said, you gotta push that in with both hands and turn it. And then to tighten it up, you can use a screwdriver like this. Got it all tightened up. See? Alright. Now I'm not going to put the cover on yet. The cover has a screw there, there, and there. So just 3 screws on top. We'll have, of course, this cover here. This goes back on. Put that there for now. I'll slide this all back together. It's really hard to do, again, one-handed, but we're going to try. Important thing to remember is that gasket O-ring right there. Make sure it's on and it hadn't slid off. Don't want to cross-thread these, so be kind of careful with it. Do it by hand. You'll know you got it because it just goes on pretty easy, actually. Trusty oil filter wrench to tighten it up. I don't tighten these things. Like I said, 10 pounds of pressure. Not very tight, just to where it starts to give me some resistance. As it gives me resistance, I stop. There it is. Okay, I'll take this. Trap myself in here. There. As I just said, make sure the O-ring's on. It is. Over here and tighten this up on the filter. I had to loosen that just so I can move it up and out of my way. All right, now we're ready to fire it up, test it out. All right, we're gonna turn it back on. We'll hit it back in auto. Top left, heater's on. All right, I'm gonna check to make sure there's no leaks. There, nothing seems to be leaking. Just check, make sure. That's good to go. The heater's already, the fan blower is kicked on. Gas valve open. Hot air is blowing out the flue. Okay. Now that we got a new thermal regulator and bypass, you shouldn't hear that knocking anymore. The heater will stay on because it is working properly and water flow is going through the heat exchanger properly. So hopefully that helps you guys. I'm going to put the cover back on, but that's the last thing to do. I think I really need to show you guys how to do that. But on the bottom part first. Here it is. And the top part just flops in there like that. This is a communication wire. A comm wire goes to the heater. It tells the automation over there when to turn the heater on. If you have automation. If you don't have automation, you won't see that wire. Now, I didn't install this, so I wasn't the original installer. I wouldn't put the comm wire right there, but I do things a little neater than other guys do it. I would have put it out of the way. You wouldn't have been able to see it. It wouldn't be in the way like it is over here when we're trying to work on it, but that's what the novices do. Professionals do it different. Anyways, normally I would put like on the bottom. Down there, there's a little hole down there. I haven't heard it knocking yet. It should have already started knocking by now. It's been running now for a little while and seems to be running great. So that was the only problem with it. That cost the customer approximately, with the service call, diagnostic and everything, it was only about $250 to $300 is what you're looking at for that service. Not a very expensive service to do, but it is what it's usually, as long as it fixes the problem, it's good to go. So heater's running, sounds good, it's not knocking anymore, and that should fix our issue. Thanks for visiting. Okay. Each one of these, make sure they got the washers back on there. Get these all just in there. You don't want to tighten them just yet. You want to just get them in the grooves there and ready to tighten up, and then you'll tighten it up in a specific pattern, crisscross pattern. So if you've done if you guys have done anything or worked on a vehicle or anything like that, I'm sure you understand that crisscross pattern. Be right back with you.